Hello guys, Namaste, Adab, good morning, good evening, whichever part of the world you are in. Very welcome to my channel and hope you will enjoy the lovely recipes I create. So guys, if you're enjoying the lovely recipes and enjoying cooking that beautiful food at home, just hit that subscribe button and go on and click the notification as well. You'll get notified with all the videos which I'll be doing, and we'll happy to see you cooking. Hi guys, so today we are cooking the mighty chicken tikka masala sauce. Okay, now there's a little history behind tikka masala and the sauce, the way it was developed and all that, but to be honest, what we call here tikka masala is not actually tikka masala. It's actually a makhani, chicken makhani. That means a sauce which is as smooth as butter. Okay, so that's for the sauce. So if you end up in India and you're looking for tikka masala like here, you are requesting chicken makhani. Okay, so that's just to be kind of mindful of that. But look, we are here, we're gonna call it a chicken tikka masala. I have ingredients laid out. There's no need to be afraid of that. There's good few ingredients there, and this recipe is my own sort of a take on this. It's not the traditional recipe, and the reason traditional recipe, I'm not using it, like for instance, there's no onions in the traditional recipe. We are all based on tomatoes in India, because of the good sunshine, they are very, very sweet, and the sauce actually comes out much sweeter, while the tomatoes or tomato puree or tin tomatoes and stuff we are using, they are quite sour. So to able to balance that the sourness, you will be using a lot of sugar. So to bring the level of sugar down, you'll be using some onions. So it actually gives a good texture to the dish, and it reduces the amount of sugar, which is very important in the sauce. Okay, other reason for some of the ingredients which I have adapted is to make it simpler, as if like cashew nuts we'll be using and cooking straight in the sauce, while in a traditional recipe you'll be making a cashew nut paste and adding to the recipe. So let's get the cooker on. Okay, while the pot is heating up, I have to say this, that since I started this channel, the request for this recipe has been just mind-blowing. Amount of people have asked by personal text that can you show us a homemade tikka masala recipe. So I'm delighted to put that through. But another tip I will give it to you here is, if you are making this sauce, make it in bulk and you can freeze it. Okay, so you make the base, which I will show you, without the cream and the butter. Everything else you freeze it into batches, into small packs, freezer bags or plastic takeaway containers. You can freeze them, and you can take it out and you can use it into various ways. Believe it or not, the same sauce is used into a couple of different dishes. It's like you make a paneer makhani. Paneer is an Indian cheese, so this cheese with exactly same sauce, you can use that, or you can use a vegetable makhani, like a cauliflower, broccolis, carrots, green peas. You can saute that and use the same sauce. The same sauce will make you 2 or 3 different dishes. This is one of a beautiful sauces to have it in your freezer. You can take it out and you can quickly make a dish. So rather than focusing on a chicken tikka masala, we are focusing on a masala sauce, which is basically a makhani sauce, a butter sauce. Okay, so what we're going to do is we're going to bring the camera much forward, and we're going to show you the ingredients, and we'll show you cooking of those ingredients as well. Okay guys, so we have oil, we have some whole spices. There's coriander, we have a little bit of cinnamon, we have some cardamom, we have cumin. So these are just whole spices there. I have turmeric, salt, chili powder. Now chili powder you can replace it with green chilies, or you can increase the chili powder. We don't eat too much chili, so it's only half a teaspoon there. We have garam masala, we have sugar, we have cashew nuts, ginger and garlic paste, we have paprika, we have cumin powder, we have coriander powder, and we have fenugreek leaves, which is kasuri methi. Okay, we also have tomato passata. You can use chopped tin tomatoes, or you can use plum tomatoes. I will avoid any sort of tomato puree because they tend to burn when you are cooking them, and they give very dark sort of sauce, so avoid that. We have fresh tomatoes. You can use a whole lot with the fresh tomatoes if you want, but I like a mixture of both. Then we have onions. We have best in the world Irish butter and Irish cream. Okay, so our pan is just now start to heat up. Okay, so pan is kind of a medium hot at the moment. Just gonna use oil there. 3 tablespoon oil. The whole spices go straight in. Okay. And straight away then your onions. When you put your onions, put straight away a bit of salt, and that helps the onion cook, releases the moisture, and it will cook faster. Now onions here, as you can see, they are quite big chunks because we're going to blend the sauce anyway, so I haven't bothered to cut them quite small. You can if you like. And in any of the Indian sauces, the most important thing is to cook the onions properly. Don't be rushing with them. Don't cook them on a very high heat. Nice and slow, medium sort of heat, and they take their time cooking. So the fibers are actually fully cooked, and the sauce will be a nice smooth sauce. So what we have done is we have moved the pot on the back because the extractor is over there. We don't want the room to fill up and the alarms going off and the whole lot. So the stage we left it at is the onions are cooking with the salt. It takes a little bit of time, okay? You can always use a lid, and that helps the onion cook, okay? Now particularly about chicken tikka, it's a Punjabi dish. Punjab is a region in India. Chicken tikka itself, it's in a dish in itself, so don't complicate yourself thinking that you have to make chicken tikka masala. You go all the way making sauces and making chicken tikka, and it's a lot of work for the day. Best thing, the way I cook it at home, is the first day I will marinate the chicken tikka, and probably that day we only have sandwiches, but the next day I'm going to cook the chicken tikka, and we're gonna enjoy the chicken tikka with a bit of mint chutney. You will find the recipe of mint chutney on the channel as well, and we enjoy it as a dry. So chicken tikka with some salad, mint chutney, and bit of naan bread. Okay, everything homemade, and we enjoy that way. And whatever chicken is left after that, along with the juices in the pan, we keep that in the fridge for next day, and I'm gonna make the sauce next day. And the sauce is the sauce which I'm making now. So you're really getting the best out of the two dishes, and traditionally that's how it was done. The chicken tikka was made, that it wasn't good enough next day to serve it as a dry sort of dish like a tikka in itself. What to do with that dish? A sauce to bring the moisture back in the chicken pieces. A beautiful sweet buttery sauce was prepared, and chicken was cooked in the sauce. So, well, it was cooked already, but it was reheated in the sauce to bring back the moisture in the dish. So that's a little history behind that, and I would prefer that's the way. If you are cooking at home, use that way, because then you're utilizing your ingredients in a better way. You have a couple of different dishes going, and as I spoke before, when you're making the sauce, just make sure to make it enough to make it enough to last you for maybe 2 or 3 times. You can freeze it. Sauce freezes very well once you don't put the dairy in it. Put the dairy at the end when the sauce has heated up. If you're taking out from the freezer, make it a little bit defrost, semi-defrost, and then you can heat up and then add the dairy to it. So it's perfectly as good as. Okay, so that's a little history. The onions are cooking well. We'll have a look how we go into that. Okay, so onions has been cooking nicely for around 5-10 minutes. So come on, Dora, we're gonna show what we're gonna add in there. Okay, now just have a look at the onions there. They're lightly browned up. We don't want to brown them too much, and because that will affect the color of the sauce. I will talk about that a little bit later on, but I'm gonna add the cashew nuts now, and straight away I'm gonna go and add the water. Okay, so now we'll leave that onion to cook. So we spoke about onions, browning the onions in the pan. That is very, very important, the way you cook your onions. How much you cook it, what color you cook it in. It has to be cooked well at the end of the day, but the color of the onion is gonna decide how your sauce is gonna look like at the end. So it's very important that every dish you understand the browning of the onions. The best way to understand if it's a dark meat you are cooking, if you are cooking lamb is cooked quite well in India, and it's beautiful. Some lamb curries we're going to be showcasing on the channel going forward. Lamb is a dark meat, the sauces are dark. To achieve that, you need to color your onions. Color means brown your onions properly. You may need a little bit tablespoon of oil extra. You'll be cooking on a slower heat, believe it or not. You'll be cooking starting from high heat, and then you'll be reducing the heat down, and you'll be cooking on a slower heat, and that avoids the onions that they don't caramelize too much, they don't burn, but they're slowly burning to achieve a nice dark brown color. Now as you see, once I achieved the color and it was browning after that, and there is no way I can return the process, so I added a jug of water in it, and the water gonna slow down the process of burning and the browning, and it's also add the moisture to the dish, so the onions will cook very well. So onions going to cook much more faster by boiling it, and while it's cooking, the water is gonna evaporate anyway, so it's not gonna affect too much in the sauce. We'll be adding water to the sauce anyway. So that's a little tip for how you should color your onions. Okay, so hope that will help you. Okay guys, so the water we have added is most of the water has run out now, so we're gonna bring it over here and we're going to have a look what's going on. So as you can see, the water has all evaporated. There's a very tiny bit of moisture still there, which I want to leave it there because I'm going to add next few bits and I don't want them to burn. Ginger garlic paste goes in next. I give that say 5, 10 second, 20 second to give it a good sort of cooking of ginger garlic, gives a good aroma. Okay, so not looking good. I can smell the beautiful ginger and garlic coming out. Okay, the onions are beautifully cooked, the cashew nuts are soft. So we're gonna go in with our spices. Apart from fenugreek leaves, which is kasuri methi, we're gonna add every single spice. Okay, so just gonna go straight in. Okay, now we're gonna give that a cook as well, because when the spices are cooking, they go give much more flavor rather than you boil them. So when this pan is dry, they roast a little bit and give much better flavor, but there is a more chance that they will burn and stick on the pan. So you have to always keep an eye. You can't walk away and leave the pot and go on your phone or talk to somebody and something like that. You need to be very careful when you add spices and you dry roasting something or sauteing something. You can't leave it. You just have to stand there, keep stirring it till the time you start to feel the aromas are coming out, and we go straight in with our chopped tomatoes, fresh ones. Okay, now we're gonna give that a cook as well. Okay, and we're gonna go with our passata or tomato, chopped tomato, whatever you are using. Gonna straight in that as well. Okay, around 2 minutes we're gonna cook this as well. So once we are happy with the cooking there, we're gonna add some more water. A little bit more. Okay, and we're just gonna put a lid on it and simmer it for say around 15 minutes or so, and we're gonna check it after that. So this has been bubbling away for around 15 minutes. Once it boils and then you know the tomatoes are cooked, I take the lid off and I start to reduce the sauce a little bit, and that gives the shine in the sauce rather than just a boiled sort of look. Okay, so that's cooking away. So what we're going to do next is we're going to blend this sauce. Okay, now there's a couple of ways to do that. One way to do that is that you just take this off the heat, let it cool down a little bit, maybe 3-4 minutes, and use an immersion blender. Okay, so you blend the sauce and it's in there, and then we start working on finishing the sauce. The other way to do it, which I usually do, is use a blender. That makes the sauce much more finer, and that's what I'm actually aiming for it today. If you are in a rush and you are only making a smaller quantity, you can actually use an immersion blender. I prefer it that way. It really, only difference between the two is that it's one of them is much more finer than the other. So the reason I use the other pan is when I'm going to blend, I'm going to pour that sauce back in there. Okay, so let's go and give this a blend. Okay, so the sauce is blended. I have it in a different pan because now we have to finish the sauce. Okay, so the very first thing I will do is taste the sauce. Just to know where the salt level, the spice level, where we are at. The spice level is spot on. We may need a little bit of salt, but we need some sugar. Now I have icing sugar here. You can use any sugar you like. We're gonna put all the quantities up on the video. So I'm gonna put the sugar in there straight in. Okay, sauce. It was looking very liquidy when boiling, but because when you blend the tomatoes and onions all together, the fiber in the vegetables, they're going to just soak the water in, and it will come up to a nice sort of consistency. It's always not recommended that you add any sort of water or stock or anything when you're finishing the sauce, because that water will always be floating on the top. It will never be absorbed back in the dish or the sauce itself. So after the sugar, I'm gonna have a quick taste again. So a little bit of salt. Don't put it on a very high heat, because tomatoes especially, they start to boil up and bubbles up, and that can actually burn you. So we're just gonna bring it to a simmering sort of stage. Yeah, that's spot on. And if you're thinking to freeze the sauce, now is the time. You take out what you don't need and you want to put it away. Take the sauce out, let it cool down, maybe overnight, cool down in the fridge, and then put into small batches or packs or tubs, whatever way you like it. Okay, so now you can see start to a little bit bubble up. Now it seems like there's a good bit of butter, because there's no other way. The sauce is very, very buttery. It's not something I will say that you cut down on butter, because it is very, very important to have that sort of butter in it. Now if you look at it, that sauce along with the chicken or anything else you're using, it will feed good 8 to 10 people. So although it looks like a lot of butter, but when you break it down, it would be like you're putting something on your toast in the morning. So you kind of have to think in that way as well. So the butter is just nicely melting up there. I'm also gonna go in and add the cream. We're gonna keep a little bit of cream for the garnish. It's already looking so smooth. Okay, so we got fenugreek leaves here. They are lightly roasted in the oven, then it's cooled down and they crushed by hand. You can make it a really fine powder, or you can just make it crushed like that, the way I have it. The real form of that, it looks like that. It's like a dried out leaves. So we're just gonna go in and add that to the dish. The butter is just near enough to melt it now. We're gonna have a quick taste again. Absolutely beautiful. Sauce needs to be smooth. It just on your tongue, it just beautiful sort of texture coming through. You have bitterness of this spice and then your creaminess. It is a lovely dish, and as I said, it's just not for the chicken. You can use it in various forms. For some of the vegetarian dishes as well. Okay. So that's the recipe of the sauce. Now what we're going to do is we're going to add chicken to it. But before that, because there is a lot of sauce and I want to reserve it for a different dish, so I'm going to take the sauce out and we're going to finish that as a chicken tikka masala. So just follow me after that in this. Okay guys, so we took most of the sauce out and we just left it what we need. Okay, so the chicken tikka we're just gonna put that. Now you'll see there's some of the juices are still in the chicken. We're gonna put all that in the sauce. Okay, now if you're eating with a naan bread, you keep less sauce in the pan. If you're eating with rice, you make sure you have good bit of sauce in there, because rice tends to be a little bit dry. Okay, so we're just going to let that chicken heat up in the sauce and absorb all the moisture. All the dryness of the chicken will be gone. Okay, so let that cook. We're gonna prepare coriander here. We're just gonna leave some of the leaves for the garnish, put it in water there. Okay, just nice bit of sprigs there, and rest of the coriander we'll just chop up, and we are going to put that in the sauce there. Okay, so I think that's just enough. We're going to chop this coriander up. Now garnish is totally up to you as well, how you want to decorate it. We just gonna keep it a little bit simple. So that goes in there. Okay, and that's nicely bubbling away there. Okay, all it will take is a matter of minutes before the chicken will start to heat up nicely with the moisture of the sauce. Okay, we have a little bit of cream here, and we're going to use a little teaspoon just to garnish that on the top. Okay, so let's go. We're gonna use this bowl and we're gonna use that for garnish now. Okay.